Hey, how you doing? Toris here. So today I got an iPhone 7 with me that has got a broken screen, and as you can see, this phone has seen better days as well. Now this is gonna be my very first attempt to fix a smartphone. I'm not gonna go into super details since there are plenty of similar videos here on YouTube, but I will try to keep the video as informative as possible. As you can see, the screen works just fine, but that crack on the glass takes away the aesthetics. Also, a bit of cleanup on the back of the phone will help as well. I started with removing the SIM tool. Now I'm not sure if it actually needs to be removed, but I just did it anyway. Then there are two pentalobe screws on the bottom that needs to be removed. The important thing here is to remember to be organized with these screws. For some reason Apple likes to use different type of screws. After that I prepared some more tools, and using the heat gun I helped to soften the adhesive under the screen so I can open the phone easily. I use one of these Jimmy tools, then some plastic guitar picks as well, making sure that I take my time and go around the edges slowly without damaging anything internally. Using a little bit more heat on the edges and then sliding the plastic picks again. Doing this for the first time can be a bit daunting, but with a little bit of patience, this can be done. We need to make sure that we don't yank the screen off, because there are some ribbon cables that can be easily damaged. Also, using the plastic picks won't damage the phone's housing. Then the phone opens like a book, and now you can see those ribbon cables I was talking about. To unhook them, first we need to remove this shield that is held by 4 screws. Again, make sure that you organize your stuff, because some of these screws are different sizes and only goes to their own place. I disconnected the battery first, just to make sure I don't fry anything while I'm working on the phone. Then there are 2 more ribbon cables. There is another shield held by 2 screws, and under that we can find another ribbon cable for the front camera and the sensors. Detaching that, then we can remove the screen. It's time to prepare the new screen now. This one in particular came with some assembling tools, but I already got those, so I won't be using them. Basically now we have to transfer most of the things from the old screen to the new one, starting with removing the screws from this big metal shield. There are 3 screws on each side. Then on the top there are 5 more screws that holds the shield, the speaker unit and the sensors. I used a little bit more heat to soften the glue and started to remove the sensors with the ribbon cables. This part was one of the most finicky parts. I did struggle to remove them a bit, but eventually I managed. But just wait until I have to put it back. On the bottom of the screen there are another 4 screws that holds the shield for the home button. After removing that, I started to separate the big metal shield from the ribbon cables, again taking my time and not rushing it, because these cables are really easy to damage. There is a small connector here for the home button that needs to be disconnected, then we can remove the button itself. If you need to, you can use some more heat since the cables are glued down here as well. Now it's time to assemble the new screen, but before that I just wanted to make sure that it actually works and functions as it needed. So I connected the screen cables and the sensors just to make sure everything is still okay. After turning it on, I just tested the touch functionality, and as you can see, it works perfectly. I can now start putting everything together, starting with the big metal shield and its side screws. Again, there are 3 on each side. If you pay attention, you can see how I organize my screws on the side. Basically, I put every screw in the order I took them out and put the shield next to them, so I know which one goes where. Here I have to lift up the screen protector to insert the home button back. There are some plastic standoffs here that guides me where the actual cable goes. It is helpful. When it's back to its place, I reconnect it and then place the shield back with its 4 screws. By the way, these screws don't need to be super tight. If we do that, we might potentially break something. And here comes the worst part. Well, at least for me. Since I'm doing this for the first time, it took me way more than it should to fold and put these sensors back. I don't know if there's a better way, there might be, but it was just frustrating and time consuming to put all the cables back to its place. But once I put the speaker unit and the shield back and secured it with the screws, I was more than happy to know that it won't go anywhere. I guess this is just part of the job. And I know you guys might think there are other things that are a lot harder than this, but hey, I have to start somewhere. I am doing another test here just to make sure everything works still. This time I checked the camera, the microphone and the speakers as well. They are all working accordingly. Just before I assemble the phone completely, I have to remove the old glue from the sides using some 99% isopropyl alcohol. Using the alcohol and the plastic spudger made it easy to clean off most of it. I used my hands as well just to make sure it's nice and clean. I also cleaned the side of the housing since I can get to it more easily at the moment. Then carefully aligning the new adhesive, I managed to push it down with the spudger. This adhesive is a bit tricky as well because sometimes it likes to remain and stick to the plastic and not to the phone itself. I also make sure that I clean off every bit of dust that I can from the inside before I close the phone. We can put the shields back as long as we are sure that cables are connected properly. I start with the top one which got 2 screws and then I move on to the other one which got 4 screws. Once again making sure every screw goes back to where it came from. One more quick test before I completely close the phone, making sure everything works, such as the camera, the microphone, the speakers, and of course the digitizer as well. Few more wipes inside to make sure everything is clean, then we can start putting the phone back together. It needs to go from the top to the bottom since it got those little plastic notches. Again, I make sure I take my time and slowly go around until I made sure the screen sits nice and flat. After that, the 2 pentalobe screws can go back to its place and we are basically done. Just as a last touch, I cleaned the backside of the phone. It had a lot of dirt on it. I also noticed the same dirt in the mute switch and the speaker grills. So with some alcohol I managed to get rid of it easily. The SIM tray goes back to its place and then I remove the plastic screen protector to install a proper one. And there we have it. It wasn't as hard as I first thought. I do plan to practice and fix more smartphones in the future though. I really enjoyed this little project. Anyway, I hope this helps some of you out. If you have any questions regarding to this video, just let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you are a fan. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.